everyone. I'm going to share my screen and let's start. Probably this one. Okay, here we go. So for today, we are going to be just reviewing the Power BI with CRM integration. The idea is that we are going to review some concepts at the beginning. And after that, I'm going to be doing some practical exercises to show you how to do it and what a specific consideration you have to keep in mind because probably it's kind of easier to connect both systems, but there are some elements that I want to highlight because I think that are really important and that probably is something that you should know. Okay, so let's start. Um, Let me just change this. So, okay. Microsoft Dynamics has the possibility to use as a data source for information analysis in Power BI and in some other different systems or on some other different tools. The idea is that there are some possibilities that you could try to explore. And I will show you today the traditional one and some other alternative that I probably recommend strongly. So let's start. At the beginning, I want to share with you this video that is basically an introduction video. Okay. So at the beginning, and the idea of the video is just try to highlight the importance of the good service and try to be always focus on the customer. That's the main idea of the video. So that's why we just want to include it in all our presentations. Okay. Okay. Those are the topics that we are going to cover today. At the beginning, I'm going to show you how to find the CRM connection URL. That's something that you are going to need to interact with CRM from Power BI. So I'm going to show you how to identify that URL from CRM. And after that, I'm going to show you how to configure the data source directly in Power BI. After that, I'm going to show you how to define the data model. There are some considerations that I want to highlight here, as I mentioned. And finally, I'm going to be exploring some additional functionalities that are going to be really useful for you and to include the Power BI reports directly in CRM. Okay, so the first thing that you need to know is how to identify the URL that you are going to use in your report. Uh, the first thing is that you need to go directly to the CRM and go to settings, go to developer resources and identify the service root URL. And that basically is the service root URL that appears in Instance Web API. Okay, how to do it? Let's do it immediately directly in the CRM. So you just need to click here in the gear and go to advanced settings. After that, you will see this customization option here, and you will find a developer resources here. On the developer resources, there are many different URLs there, but the one that we need is the web API URL, as we mentioned here, instance web API URL. So it sometimes takes a couple of seconds, but after that, you will see it's taking longer, but it's going to appear. Oh, no problem. Don't get stressed. Okay, so instance web API is going to be this URL. That's the URL that we are going to need. to connect to the CRM directly from Power BI. Okay, that's the first thing that you need to know. The next thing that you need to know is how to create the data search in Power BI. So that's why you need the URL. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is just open your Power BI uh, uh, desktop. After that, go to get data, and you are going to find an option here that is going to be more. Okay, so get data. After that, just click on more, and after that, you just need to, you could write here Dynamics. You will find the Dynamics 365 online here. Or if you want to connect to a different one, you could do it. Uh, there is another option is using the Dataverse, but it's not the same because the Dataverse is going to be the like the base model. And on this case, I want to connect directly to the dynamic and have access to all elements that are available there. So I really recommend you use just the Dynamics connector, at least at the moment. After that, you need to enter the URL that you just get at the first step. And after enter this URL, you're going to be requested for your credentials for Dynamics. And of course, after that, the CRM is going to show you what entities do you want to include in your model. Okay, that I'm going to be just explaining that kind of slowly later directly in the platform. But at the beginning, I mean, for this step, these are the basic elements that we need to know: how to create a data source, how to authenticate, and after that, you just need to select the entities and proceed with the load. Okay, let's do this. So let's go to Power BI. Basically, we are here in Power BI. So now we need to go to Get Data, and here you will find the option More. Okay. When you click on More, then the Power BI is going to show you this. That's the basic data source dialog. You need to write here Dynamics, and you will find here Dynamics 365 online. In my case. Okay. So let's use the Connect click or the Connect button, and here you need to put the Web API URL. So just go back to the CRM and select the service route that we identify here. Okay, just copied it, just paste it. And after that, you just need to click on OK. The CRM is going to request for credentials. If you are already connected, probably it's not going to request you anything. But if not, it's going to appear a message with the organizational account, and you just need to click in organizational account. Just put your login and password, and you're going to just be redirected to this screen. Okay. Okay. This is the main entities that we have in CRM. I mean, all the entities, all the out-of-box entities and the custom entities. As you can see here, probably there are some OPT. There are Optimus entities. So we have all of these entities, all of these custom entities. For the moment, I want to select two entities. I want to select contacts, and I want to select cases that should be incidents. Okay, so we already select two entities. Uh, and just click on load. You could just click on transfer data and start doing some initial transformation, but I want to do it later. So I'm just gonna click on load. And the Power BI is going to start loading the information from those entities. Okay, so it's going to connect to the CRM and it's going to retrieve the context and it's going to retrieve the incidents. Okay, at the beginning it's just going to retrieve a couple of data, and after that, as you can see here, you're going to have the two entities here. Okay, that's the initial step. Okay. Okay, let's continue with the next slide, just to mention a couple of things that I want to highlight. Okay, there are some additional functionalities that I am going to be covering in this webinar. I didn't do additional slides per topic because I want to show you that directly in the platform, directly in the Power BI. Okay, so the first thing is the addition of queries. That's something important. After that, we are going to be covering the relationships and the Power BI datasets, the publication process, the dashboard configuration, and how to include the reports in CRM. That's the main group of topics that we are going to be covering. So how to edit the queries? What does it mean? How, as you can see here, you will have all the contacts here, you will have all the incidents here, and actually, as you can see, you have all the base or all the out of the box fields here. And in contacts is exactly the same. You're going to have all the out of the box fields here. That is not kind of practical because it's difficult to try to figure out how the fields that you want to use. And additionally, because you are asking this Power BI just retrieve additional information that you are not going to use. So my first suggestion is just try to edit the query. I mean, you just need to click here in edit query. You will find this window. Yeah, let me just move the window. Okay, here we go. And here, try to define what are the columns that you really want to use, because I think, I mean, I try to retrieve information that is just I mean, try to keep it simple. And if you just leave the all the fields, it's not going to be simple. It's going to be totally complex. So try to just leave the fields that you really want to use. The fields that you don't want to use, just click on choose columns and choose column here, and just define the columns that you want to use. Okay. If you want to do it in that way, it's an option. The other option, just click here and just remove it. Okay, that's another option. And and that's it. Just try to leave the columns that you really want to use. That's my first suggestion. And the second thing that I want to highlight is that there are some elements that probably you need to know. For example, let me see. For example, mm, for example, okay, parents value code. For example, the code. I mean, for example, the state, the recent state, and that kind of field that are going to be option sets in CRM are going to be here like a number. Okay, for example, this one. Preferred contact method code is going to be a number. It's not going to be the word. I mean, it's not going to say active, inactive, or something like that. It's going to be the number. So you need to do additional, for example, this one, state code, is going to be the number. It's not going to be the name. And probably you don't want to represent that on the on the report as a number. Probably you're going to represent that as a value. Okay. So there are two options here that are possible too. The first one is that, and I used to probably just copy or duplicate a column. And after duplicate the column, I just replace the value in the new one. And I just replace the zero by active or something like that. That's an option. If you have probably one or two values, that's a good option. But if you have more than two or three values, probably it's a good idea. Try to create and enter just click here and enter data, create a virtual entity or a virtual table with all the values. And after that, just create a relation. I'm going to do in that way now, just to let you know how to do it. Okay. And after that, just to let me explain the how to manage the relationships. Okay. Let's enter data here. I'm going to click state code. Just state code, and let me see state, something like that. And sorry, because of these letters, I cannot leave it. So 0 and 1, and let's say that it's going to be active and it's going to be inactive, something like that. And the table, let's say that is going to be contact, contact status, something like that. Something is the status. Okay, okay, okay. I'll just leave it there. And as you can see here, the Power BI just create like a virtual entity there that is, it doesn't really exist, but it's going to be available in Power BI. Okay, let's go back to the context, and we are going to link this later, but I just wanted to create it. Okay, the second thing that I want to highlight here, because it's really important, is that the type of fields. As you can see here, there are some text fields, there are some, for example, dates, the time, but there are some columns or some fields at the end, and usually are at the end, that are going to be like this, are going to be like record or are going to be as table. What does it mean? For example, as you can see here, there is a contact appointment here, that it means that inside this record, the Power BI has all the reference to all the records related to this contact that are in appointments. I mean, all the appointments that that record has are going to be just referenced here. So if you want to explore there, it's possible, but sometimes, and that's why I really recommend you at the beginning, try to just leave the columns that you are going to use, because if you leave this kind of records, the Power BI is going to take a long time retrieving information that probably you are not going to use. So if in your report you are not going to show that kind of information, probably it's a good idea try to remove the column. It's just going to be in Power BI, but it's going to be a good idea try to remove the column because you don't want to retrieve information that you don't want to use. Okay, so that's the table one. But I think that probably the other one is more important. That is going to be the record one. What is the record one? Let's say that, for example, and probably here we have an example. Let me see. Uh, well, it's not, I will try to select anything just to make it, just to try to make it easy. Okay, let's say, for example, the owner. Okay, the contact is going to have an owner, just one. Okay, so when you just saw here table, it means that you are going to have multiple, because you're going to have multiple appointments, multiple tasks, multiple phone calls, multiple anything. But in this case, you're going to have one. So you're going to have one owner, you're going to have probably one country, you're going to have one city, just one related. Okay. So I recommend you, for example, in this case, if you don't want, I mean, there are some reports that probably you want to present the owner name. So, but you don't need to have all the whole record there, or the whole owner there. Probably you just need two options. So you need to expand that. You just need to click here. And let's say that I'm going to leave the owner here. And I'm going to leave for example, the full name. Let's say that I'm going to leave the full name. Probably I could just check. It's not going to be the full name. It's going to be the mm, owner go. I choose a different column. Let me see something. Yes, yes. So you just need to, for example, country. Let me see country. Okay. For example, in country, I want the country that is going to be the OPT, for example, country ID. That is going to be the grid, the GUID. And you just need the name. Let's see. Probably like this. Okay. And after that, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to rename this. For example, I'll rename it. And I'm going to say country, probably country ID, something like that. Yep. And after that, I'm going to rename this and I'm going to put country. Okay. What I'm doing here is that I am preparing the data just to avoid create some relations because you already have the relations in the initial data set. So for those for those fields that you already have the data, like these ones, for example, city, country, some other elements that you already have the lookup there, it's a good option. Try to expand information and just leave the columns that you probably are going to use, usually the ID of the record and the name. And for the other records, probably you just need to leave it as you just need to remove it. Okay. I don't know why it just appeared like in errors, but I'm gonna skip it. Okay. So this is the way to modify the query. Of course, you could add columns, you could add conditional columns, you could add a lot of things. You could remove fields. Try to prepare the data source in a way that you could use it easily in the report. Don't leave the query just like Power BI, just bring it because it's going to have a lot of information that you are not going to use and you are going to spend time retrieving that information. You're going to spend time making the CRM just explore all that information. So my first suggestion is try to spend or invest the time at the beginning just preparing the data set with the information that you really want to keep. Okay, that's the first thing. So after that, you just need to close and apply, and it's going to take a couple of seconds there. Okay, and that's it. Your data source is going to be prepared just to be used in a report. Okay, as you can see here, the contact status appears here. So that's something that we are going to be using later. And it's something that I really want to highlight because it's an easy way to avoid transformations, and probably there are some entities that you want to use like shared. Okay, so edition queries, that's the option. The option is just click here, edit query, and do that's more Power BI functionality. So I'm not going to go deep there, but the idea is that you need to prepare your query to respond to your needs. Okay, don't leave the query just like the original one. Okay, the second topic here is the relationship management. That's really important. How to manage the relationship? You just need to click on table tools here. And here you need to go and click and manage relationships. There are some relationships that the Power BI is going to try to do. Some of them are not correct. And I should mention that because are not correct because they're, the Power BI try to do the relationship based on the name. For example, here, the contact entity includes a column called modified by. And the incident column includes a country with the same name, and he tries to do that relation. That's not a correct one. So I need to remove this, and I'm going to delete it because it doesn't have any chance. And I'm going to delete this one at the beginning because it's trying to do the relationship between a state code, but incident and contact status, and that's not correct. The relationship that applies is contact state code and contact status that we did before. So, and that's why he include the relationship and it make it active at the moment. Okay, there's another relationship that the Power BI doesn't identify by itself, but we need to do it. Just click on new, and let's say that from contact, you're gonna have a relationship, and this is something that I don't like so much from Power BI. You cannot search easily the column. I don't know why, but why it doesn't change that. But let's try to find a contact ID if I can contact ID, and I'm going to join that column. I'm going to match that column with incidents, and probably on incidents is going to be a column with the name. Uh, let's see the column here. Category owning. Create by owning incident ID. Hmm. customer value must be this one. Okay. So I already create that too. Okay. And I'm going to click on close. So the CRM is going to try to do the relationships by default. Actually, you could just click in auto detect and it's going to try to relate all the entities that you bring it here. It's going to try to relate the columns based in the name. So that's why I really recommend you try to validate that all relationships are the appropriate ones before start using this. Okay. Okay, close. Okay. So until now, I already explained you how to edit, how to manage the relationship, and I want to explain you how to use it, the Power BI data set, or at least let you know what are they. So as you can see here, we could bring data information here, but we could connect to Power BI data sets. Okay, what does it mean? There are different ways to create reports in Power BI, at least connected to CRM. The first way is that you could have your model here, do all the diagrams, do all the graphical distribution of the report and put everything together in the same report. I mean, the data information and the visual information in the same file, and after that publish. The result of that is that you are going to have your report, it's going to be connected to your model, and it's going to work. Okay, it is the basic model. But the idea is not use that model. Why? Because the idea is that you need to define the model that you are going to be using per area. What does it mean? For example, that's my suggestion because nobody is going to tell you that should be like that. But my suggestion is that you need to configure, for example, a Power BI related to incidents, with incidents type, with contacts, with all the elements, and with all the entities related to incidents. It's going to be a group of entities just to represent information for incidents. Okay. After that, with that model, that let's suppose that is going to be this model, but of course it's going to have more entities. You need to publish that model as a data set. Okay. If you go to Power BI, you will see here that when you publish a report, the Power BI creates a data set and creates a report. And sometimes, if you want, you could create a dashboard. Okay, that's the three main elements in Power BI: data set, reports, and dashboard. Okay, so the idea is that create a model, your data model, publish it to allows the Power BI create the data set. And after that, you are going to create additional reports, not in the same file, in a different file. You are going to create a visualization report that is going to be connected a data set. Okay. What's the benefit to do that? The benefit is that you are going to have just one data set, just the data set is going to be in just one file, but you could create many different reports connected to the same data set. So you don't have to you don't have to do again the same data model in all the reports. You're going to have the data model in just one report, in one file that you're going to publish to create a data set. And after that, you just need to create the visualization in a different report. Okay, that's my suggestion. So how you could do it, you need just to publish. Is going to request you to save it. Let's save it just here for the moment. And it's going to request you the work area that you want to use for publishing. In this case, let's say that's going to be my workspace. And it's going to publish this. I just use the name test. Okay, that's it. So if you go to this one, and it's already here. So it's going to publish the data set and it's going to publish the test. This report, you could just delete it because we are not going to use this. I just need the data set. That's my focus. Okay, so I already created a data set in Power BI with this model. The next step is that in a different file, you are going to use this Power BI data set. In the same file is not going to allow you to do this. But if you open a new Power BI desktop, for example, let me open another one because I want to show you this. I think that is a good practice, right? To create some different data sets, probably sales data set, customer service data set, probably could be, actually could be probably smaller. Probably you could create some like opportunities data model, something like that. But the idea is that you need to predefine that data source. Okay, in this new file, I'm going to click in Power BI datasets. Power BI is going to connect there, and the data set is going to be here. So you don't need to think again in the model. The model is going to be already there, and you just need to be aware of the visualization. Okay, so that's my suggestion. Okay, let's leave it there. Power BI data sets. I already explained you that. Publication reports. I already explained you how to publish. You just need to click on publish and select the space that you want to use, and that's it. Okay, how to configure a dashboard and how to include that in CRM. Okay, so let's create a small report here. Let's create, for example, let's say that I'm going to include the full name probably. I'm going to click here. And let's say that I'm going to, I don't know if the gender is there. So that's the thing that I want to, that I show you before. If you select, probably yeah, you don't see it pretty well because it's really small, but I will try to make it bigger. Probably some zoom. I don't know. Okay, but let me see because I know that is really small, but I will try to read you. Okay, here say Meg Garcia, and the gender count is going to be 2, and Steve White, the gender is going to be 1. Okay, the CRM is not going to convert it immediately because it just brings the codes. So that's why I recommend you create an entity and like a virtual entity just to do that conversions. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to be using this just to let me select this. Okay, let's have the names here. And let's say that I want to include like a chart here, like probably this one, probably, I don't know, this one. And I want to use this one here. Okay, and it's going to be the gender code, and the gender probably is going to be probably here. And I'm going to include, let's say the full name here. And I'm going to include this to here. I'm sorry. Something like that. Okay. So I already have my report here. You could include tables, charts, or whatever. Okay. After do this, after do this, every day appears new icon here. Okay. After do this, you're ready to publish the report. Okay. Let's publish again. I'm going to select my workspace and I'm going to replace it. Okay, got it. So we already have our report here, and we already have our data set here. If you click in the report, it's going to be here. That's Power BI functionality. So I'm not going to go deep there. But after that, you need to create a dashboard. Okay. So you already have your report and you already have your data source. If you click here, you could create directly from here. Actually, at least it was being visual. So let's say that we are going to create a new one, a new dashboard. Let's say that is going to be the webinar dashboard. And you just need to pin it. Okay. And go to the dashboard. And we already have the table here. And let's say that I want to include to this one to actually mm, uh, actually I think that I was including this one and not this one, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so just do the report. And after create a report, just create your dashboard with the information that you need. In my case, it's this dashboard. That includes the table. Doesn't have anything else here. Let's try to bring the chart because I want to see the chart there. So probably, I don't know why existing, probably this one. Go to the dashboard. Okay, cool. Okay, so we already have the dashboard here. Okay, that actually okay, we have the dashboard here and we have the table here and we already have the dashboard created in Power BI. Okay, so that's the step that we have here, how to configure the dashboard. The dashboard is just a group of elements that are included in a report. Okay, so when you create a report, and there is a way to create this. I usually create some reports with many different elements, and after that, I just organize that elements in some dashboard. Okay. Okay, let's publish this on CRM. How to publish this on CRM? So you already have your report, you already have dashboard, and you already have your dashboard here. Something that I want to mention before go to the CRM is just the data set. Click here. Probably, I don't know why it's not showing me all the, because it's kind of, okay, a schedule refresh. We could do it here. Okay, what I want to show you is what happens with the dashboard inside. So what it means, the data set is going to have some configuration that you have to prepare to be sure that the information is going to be updated every time. Okay, so when you configure this, you need to define how many times do you want to update information. Okay, in this case, I'm going to probably enter my credentials, organizational, sign in, probably this one. Okay, what I'm doing here now is that I already configured my data source and I want to keep your data updated. Okay, if you don't do that, it's not going to update today. So you need to define how many times do you want to update the information. The information is not going to be online. It's going to be based in the information that is in the data set. Okay, so you need to configure here how many times. I think that the top the limit is 5 times, I guess. And probably let's try to add. I don't know how many times. Well, before were just 5 times, but apparently we could just update more times now. So you need to define at what time do you want to update the information in your data set. Okay, that's something important that you need to do. The other thing that you need to do is that, okay, after configure this, you need to go to the CRM, of course, and let's add the dashboard here. Okay, there are two things that you need to know before. The first thing is that you need to activate that possibility. How to activate? Just go to advanced settings again. In advanced settings, go to administration, and in administration, go to organizational settings when it appears. Just wait, wait, and and just click again and go to system settings, sorry. And here you will find a tab with the name. I think that is reports probably, or as you can see, I'm kind of impatient. So, okay, that's why I'm in it there. But meanwhile, I'm going to pass to this option. I'm going to show you how to activate that later. I mean, when okay, it works. So just need to go to reporting and you need to activate this option because by default it's going to be in node. So you need to activate this embedding. And after activate this, you could go to dashboards and you could go to new and this option is going to appear. The Power BI dashboard is going to appear. So if you click there, you are going to be able to select the workspace that you want to use as reference. And I don't know why it's kind of slow today. Okay. So you need to select the rewards page, and after that, you need to select the dashboard that you want to use. So that's why you need to configure the dashboard before. And after that, you could just click here and just click on save. And the dashboard is going to be here. Okay. And that's it. If you click there, you're going to have all the behavior that you already have in your Power BI, but it's going to be included in CRM. Okay. Of course, don't do this. Don't leave the page number one, and try to organize that in a better way. But the idea is that you could include the dashboard just directly to the CRM. Okay. Okay. Basically, those are the topics that I want to mention, but I want to highlight two additional things that I really think that are real important. The first thing is that when you do this, this dashboard is going to be available just for me. It's not something that is going to be available for everybody, at least not at the beginning. You could share the dashboard, yep, but by default, it's not going to be available for all the users. So someone needs to include the dashboard here, and probably after that, you could share the dashboard. Probably it's a good idea, or I mean, probably my suggestion is try to don't share this immediately with users. Share this immediately with a team, and after that, just configure the people that you want to include in that team. Okay. The second thing that I want to highlight is that you are connecting this to a data set that is going to be updated a couple of times per day. Okay. But probably it's a good idea try to explore the functionality, the data export. That is a functionality that you could include in CRM that basically makes a copy of the information in a SQL Azure in a Azure SQL database. And after that, just connected the reports directly to that SQL. Probably is going to be a little bit more difficult, but it's more the performance is going to be different, and you are not going to affect the CRM with these reports. Okay, in this way, you are not affecting too much because you are connected to the data set, but the information is not going to be online. If you do with a data export, the data export remains online basically almost all the time. So when you get the information for your report, is going to be the real one. So that it depends of your needs. Okay. But if you don't need something online, probably you could just be okay with 1 or 2 hours difference. It's a good idea, use the data set. And after that, include the information directly to the share. Okay, so that's those are the topics that I want to cover today. Again, if you need to try, you could do it. We have this instance, this CRM instance. This is the URL. This is the user. This is the password. And I really want to invite you to try it by yourself because it's the only way to understand and to learn. Okay. Thanks everyone for your time. This is my email. If you have any question or if you want to just go deep in any different topic, just let me know. Thanks all of you for your time and have a great day.